The tape, let's grind. Shut up. The tape. Let's grind. The tape. We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape, let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape, let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape, let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape,
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
the tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. That right. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Yep. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunker down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Found guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape.
We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape,
The
bro.
tape.
Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up?
Really like that.
You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network, brought to you by our friends at Betr on a fabulous Wednesday evening. Now, usually we are a 4-day-a-week program. Normally, we are a Monday through Thursday operation. But with it being the bye week for the University of Georgia and the bye week for Tennessee and the bye week for South Carolina, and you know what? I don't think we maximized our opportunities to take a breather during the first bye week, so I decided that I would make the executive decision to give you guys tomorrow night off. Do you know what that means? That means tonight is the last show, and that means tonight is the best show of the week. Unfortunately, you're only going to get 3.5 hours of film study and 6 hours of live content on this network this week. Last week, you could have driven from Atlanta to Austin and only watched the Film Guy Network. That's it. You could have watched all 15 hours on that ride. And watch only the Film Guy Network. This week, if you've got some long road trip, unfortunately, you're only going to be able to make it to about Indianapolis. Okay, maybe Columbus, Ohio, if you just watch the Film Guy Network this week. So plenty of stuff to still watch on the channel this week, but it is indeed this week's last show and its best show. Welcome in. It's going to be a loaded one for you guys. It's Wednesday. We got What If Wednesday. We got the Heisman odds update as well. We've got teams on upset alert this week. We're going to bring you those. Buy, sell, and hold. Hot Seat Coaches Edition. Excited to do that one tonight. What's a team we aren't talking about enough, or rather, who's a team we aren't talking about enough? Which teams have been the biggest surprise to this point in the season? A tremendously loaded show. But I want to start with an allegation, boys. I want to start with an allegation. There's been allegations today and this week since Saturday afternoon that them folks up at Neyland Stadium be piping in crowd noise. Have you heard this allegation?
I mean, I feel like most teams kind of do this low key.
I feel
Word?
as if a Falcons fan, I might need to step out on.
Not something I've heard recently in college. I've heard people always be like, it's just loud because they pipe crowd noise. But
Yeah.
this is like a real allegation. They're out here searching through game day photos and everything of speakers on the field and whatnot, speakers that are pointed towards the stands at most of these SEC stadiums.
Well, I was gonna say, I think you're allowed to a certain degree, especially after the COVID season when like it was encouraged.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay.
So at some of these SEC schools like Neyland and like Auburn and like Alabama, they have speakers on the sideline pointed towards the fans. Now, that's because at all of these SEC schools that I mentioned, there is something called a yell leader, which is the ultimate, Captain Colt leader that's over there getting everybody hyped and getting them on the right types of chants. So that's what some of these photos have surfaced of Neyland. And look, I've been to Neyland Stadium. It is by far the loudest stadium I've ever been to in my life. I stand by that. Granted, I haven't been to LSU, so we'll find out about that. That's the other one that's often referred to as the loudest stadium in college football. I don't believe that they pipe this crowd noise in. However, I do have an allegation to set forth of my own, especially after last weekend spending some time in Austin, Texas.
Uh-oh.
The conspiracies continue.
Yes, they do. If you've ever been to DKR, you will notice there are stadium speakers on the sidelines. And unlike most SEC programs, these stadiums are faced towards the field. An interesting, adjustment out there at Texas. Now, they do not pipe crowd noise through these speakers that are ironically placed towards directly behind the bench and aimed towards the bench of the opposing team. They don't pump through crowd noise. However, they definitely pump through band noise on those speakers. Okay, and here's how this happens. Almost every single down out there in Texas, particularly third downs, ironically enough, the band will just all in unison play their instrument as loud as they can. Not a problem. Most SEC schools do this. What is the problem, however, is that somehow the audio from the band is directly tied into these speakers, and these speakers blast that shit for a good 10 to 15 seconds, and then they stop. I don't know if this is illegal, but it's certainly new, and it's certainly an allegation that I am going to go ahead and put out in the forefront. Not piping crowd noise, but certainly piping band noise out there at Texas.
That's funny because on the TV broadcast, you could distinctly hear the Redcoat band. I mean, they were pretty loud. They deserve their props, but I don't recall the Texas band, I should say, being distinctly loud on the TV.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia fans did show up for that game.
They did.
The entire
Now,
third section was
They
pretty
put
much
them all the way up in the uppers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you were in the bleeds of that stadium, but yeah, certainly loud. They were relatively loud for an entire 4 quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought I'd get a little allegation out there.
Just a little nudge.
Piping in some band noise. It's okay. I mean,
how-
it's not up into the snap. It's the initial wave of let's get everyone loud. And then they shut those speakers off. But it's very obvious what's going on when you're out there on the sideline. Just interesting. Welcome in. We do indeed have a loaded one for you. What if Wednesday Heisman odds upset alert? Buy, sell, hold, hot seat edition. What team are we not talking about enough? Which team is up for the biggest surprise? But first and foremost, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Betr. If you are looking for a place to place college football props this season, Betr is the place to be. Use promo code Brooks today. You'll get a 100% deposit match on up to $250. Again, promo code Brooks, now offering college football props in up to 23 states over there at Betr. Use that promo code that you see on your screen, hopefully right now, over there on Betr. Betr.com, promo code Brooks. Download the app, type in that promo code, you get a 100% deposit match on up to $250. Boys, we are 5-3 right now this season on Betr, looking to move to 6-3 this weekend with the play. So super excited. Those guys have joined us to be a member of our show and a portion of our show. Make sure you're heading over there and supporting those who support us. Again, that promo code is Brooks. All right, boys, where do you want to start on tonight's show?
Let's go ahead and knock out these Heisman updates, I think.
Yeah? All right, let's do it.
The race is kind of narrowed down, it seems like. A couple weeks ago, it was like, hey, there's 4 or 5 guys that are kind of swirling around there. Now you've got just really three top contenders.
It's kind of a 3-horse race, and the third horse feels like he's in there because his team's the number 1 ranked team.
That's right.
So who are the three horses?
All right, so number 1 is Cam Ward. He is now the odds-on. Ashton Genty's the odds-on favorite at plus 200. Cam Ward's just behind him at 225. So basically neck and neck between those two guys as Brooks putting his shoes in front of the desk. Third is Dylan Gabriel, quarterback for Oklahoma. He's at plus 350, slightly behind them, but not that far ahead. And then after that, there's just a massive drop-off. The next closest one is Travis Hunter at plus 1,800 odds.
I did see something interesting today where it showed Cam Ward compared to the last 4 Heisman winners at the quarterback spot over the years, and their pace through this many games in the season. Cam Ward is leading. He's got more yards than Jaden Daniels did at this point last year. He has one more touchdown, and he has more 20-plus yard plays than Jaden Daniels did.
Like 42 of those?
Yeah.
It's insane. He's got more than like 4 or 5 SEC teams combined right now. It's insane. But I do think it's a 2-man race. But what's your question?
Would you like to guess who the fifth best odds are?
Carson Beck?
Nope, Cade Klubnik.
Yeah, I saw this. I was playing dumb.
Who has honestly played kind of well, excluding the Georgia game.
I knew that who Clemson had played since they played Georgia was bad. I don't think I understood how bad. App State. This is where these teams rank for scoring defense this season. App State 129th. NC State 110th, Stanford 114th, FSU 76th, Wake Forest 113th, Virginia 78th.
Huh.
Not great.
For the folks that were watching the Texas game on Saturday and looked at that as like, damn, Georgia really did a number on Quinn. But look what they did to Cade, and look what Cade's doing now. I'm here to tell you, that schedule ain't walking through that door.
Yeah.
My God.
No. NC State ain't walking through that door.
No.
Hell, Grayson McCall on the other side ain't walking through that door. There is no ACC
App
team.
State at home is not walking through that door.
No, not at all.
You get Vandy this week. That's what you get.
And you don't even get old Vandy.
Nah, you get
this
new
Vandy.
Vandy.
You get new Vandy.
You get new Vandy. Back to the Heisman discussion. I do think, like I said, it's a 2-man race. I think it boils down to one of two things for me. Does Ashton Genty break the single game or regular season rushing record, which as of right now, by the way, I don't know. I tried to apply context to this on one of the Sunday shows. I don't think, particularly people my age and younger, I don't think people realize just what Barry Sanders was doing. Like, this is insane. In 11 games, he had 2,628 yards. Okay? It is one of the longest standing single season records that we have in college football, and he did it in 11 games. If you included his bowl game, which he put up a good 230 in, he has got about 2,900 yards on the rushing record. But the record is 26-28. Genty has 6 games left in his regular season slate. Okay, so to break the regular season record, he's going to be afforded an additional regular season game. In order to break this record, right now he's got 1,248 yards. He needs to average 230 per game the rest of the way. Sounds like a lot, right?
It is a lot.
That's a lot. 230 yards is a lot per game. It's only 23 yards above his current average.
Just give him a few more totes.
Just 2 more totes. That's it. Just 2
more totes.
That's it. That's all he needs. Just 2 more totes a game, and my man's on pace to break the record.
Is he averaging 10 yards a carry?
10.3 last time I checked. I don't know what he's at right now, but yeah, at one point he was averaging, through 6 games, he was averaging 10.3 rushing yards per carry. So yeah, Mans is shitting on college football right now.
He's literally an automatic first down.
Yeah. I'll double check. But I'm pretty sure last time I checked, he was at 10.3 yards per carry. So yeah, just 23 yards more per game, and he's on pace to break this record. Cam Ward, I think the only thing keeping him from winning this is if he's 9.9 right now. He had a slight decline from 10.3 down to 9.9.
Apparently, Grayson McCall retired.
Word?
Yeah, as of yesterday.
Is this not fake news?
This is not fake news. It says NC State QB Grayson McCall officially retires from football.
Damn.
Well, he had to go to the hospital for a hit to the head.
Oh.
So
That's tough.
Yeah, no jokes will be made henceforth.
My apologies, sir.
Yeah, that's on us, dude. That's on us. That's not a joking matter.
That sucks.
Does that mean the anti-deep state retires?
Got to.
Yeah, we'll put that one away.
Smart business move. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to take care of your chicken, man.
The chicken, huh?
That's what Marshawn Lynch said.
Fair.
Make sure you take care of your chicken.
Fair.
I thought of all people, you would know that.
Yeah, I should have.
I'm pretty sure he said that on a Raiders.
He did.
Yeah, Raiders legend Marshawn Lynch. Come on, man.
Raiders legend Marshawn Lynch
He
dropped that
had
dime.
like 3 seasons. It was fun to watch, but
Hey, man. I mean,
it wasn't the same beast mode.
I mean, he was still kind of putting up numbers.
He was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on a shit team too.
That's unfortunate. But no, these Cam Ward numbers are absolutely nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. Just as crazy as Genty's. Which one's crazy?
Genty's.
You think so?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You do something that ain't been done since the mid '80s. You're balling.
absolutely, and especially, and I get that it might not be against SEC talent. That can be the knock on him if you want. Running the football in college football, no matter the level, is very hard, and especially with the defenses you see nowadays. So to see a guy put up numbers like this, like video game like numbers, the old schools, the Barry Sanders, the Herschel Walkers, et cetera, the Bo Jacksons, very impressive.
Now, my question to you is, this is obviously the Heisman, which kind of goes to the most spectacular season with the best highlight on a really good team. But if this award were most valuable player, who would you put up for the most valuable player award? Because I tweeted out my answer to this question today or yesterday, and I don't think it was well received on the timeline because people aren't watching what I'm watching.
I understand why you put it there. But I do think Ashton Genty's probably the better answer there.
Still?
Yeah. I mean,
You think without Ashton Genty, they're a multiple loss football team?
Probably.
I think without Ashton Genty, they're probably not even in a playoff discussion right now.
It's crazy you say that because they still chunk it 30 times a game.
That's true.
And last time I checked, I think their run pass splits aren't as crazy as you think they are.
I would say that would
Right,
really.
but they're averaging 10 yards a carry.
They are.
Honestly,
It's true.
Honestly, I don't know that it really narrows down the Heisman race that much because Cam Ward, most valuable player for Miami
For
right
sure.
now by far. If you don't have Cam Ward, who knows what Miami looks like?
And if Tennessee doesn't have Dylan Sampson, what do they look like right now?
I mean, not to do the thing. Deshaun Bishop looks kind of good.
Yeah, you're right.
Not to do that thing.
No,
but,
you can do that.
But Dylan Sampson is. I mean, he is what Tennessee's offense is right now. They're hitching that wagon to him as they need to, and Heupel's doing a good job of being creative with it.
Now, I do want to take some time out to let you know that not that we have to coordinate our ensemble here, but when you're wearing something that bright and distracting, please let me know so I can avoid wearing something also uber distracting.
I don't think that's that distracting.
I went neutral.
I would.
You're a neutral guy.
Yeah, try to be.
Yeah.
Apparently,
was
the
on-
purple was like, whoa, what's J Will doing?
Jay was on hoodie
the purple.
3
The purple
for the
was
week.
crazy last night.
Apparently, it threw people
Apparently,
off.
you can only wear purple if you're confident. I didn't know this.
What?
I mean,
I avoid wearing purple back in the day and even now because, Barney accusations. Large wearing purple, not a good look.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And it just draws a lot of attention to you wearing purple.
I don't think I own anything purple.
I mean, doesn't that have purple
that
on
has purple on it.
Oh well, like I'm saying, like solid. I'm saying like fully purple.
Oh.
Like like a solid purple T-shirt.
it? All right. Well, there it is. Should we play a little What If Wednesday?
Let's do it.
I love
Let's
this.
play a little
I
What
love
If Wednesday. Guys,
Is this the best segment of our show?
I think so.
Oh, I'm unless it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
That's
unless it
true.
doesn't
That's
happen,
fair. That's
fair. it for
is
me, man.
delightful because it just gives us an opportunity to be dead ass wrong until we're right. Let's go. What if Jalen Milroe is benched this weekend? By the way, is the injury report out?
Let me check on that for you.
Yeah, we haven't had to look today.
What if he's benched?
Things will get interesting in Tuscaloosa. What if he's benched and Ty Simpson plays well?
That's the craziest what if right there.
They are out. Jalen Milroe's not on there.
All right, so he's going to play this weekend. There was some rumors rumbling in the Alabama circles that he might find his way on the injury report as a way to smoothen the "we might be benching you" type of deal.
I mean, that's honestly kind of a business. That's a smart business move if you're a quarterback that's going. You'd have to imagine he's out of eligibility this year.
No,
He's
a
out.
redshirt junior.
Okay, so I mean, planning on going into the NFL draft, and this comes up. Yeah, why not say, hey, I'm not starting because I have an injured hand. So it would make sense. I don't think he's going to do that. Then I think he's going to start. So
No longer a crazed fan take though. I've seen it on places. I've seen this discussion on places in the Alabama circles that I respect. They're actually kicking this idea around.
So let's try and think about all of the backup quarterback situations that have occurred in the SEC so far. Missouri, how'd that look last weekend? It was horrible. Michael Hawkins for Oklahoma, not great.
A flash in the pan until he threw 4 interceptions.
Now, also, in fairness to him, your entire starting roster of wide receivers being hurt doesn't help.
No.
So I would say that the best backup quarterback in the SEC, as far as how they have looked when they got their opportunity, would be Robbie Ashford
No,
for South Carolina.
Marcel Reed.
Arch Manning.
Marcel Reed, Arch Manning, okay.
You could count Lagway if you wanted.
Lagway.
He's been up and down,
So
as
there's
a
like
freshman
4
should be.
schools that have a good situation with the 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this ain't one of them.
And let's think of the 2 that were mentioned. Arch Manning, former 5-star. DJ Lagway, former 5-star. Not that
Correct.
Ty Simpson is not talented, but I'm just pointing out that it can't always just be, well, let's try the next option because this might be better. It could be very worse.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's always the grass ain't always green on the other side. If your coach starts losing, it's, do we need to fire him? And I don't think that's the case here. I don't think they need to bench Miller. Now, if he turns in another performance, I think you have to start having those questions. And if Alabama loses this week, definitely have those questions of, hey, we might need to change. But as of now, no. It's
I don't think, and people are saying he doesn't look himself. There's an injury thing. Whether or not your ankle's hurt or your obliques strained has very little to do with whether or not you can actually see the field and process reads. That's what we saw on tape today when we broke it down. We saw a quarterback that wasn't seeing the field very well, not a quarterback that was hampered by an injury. And I think so far this year, the history of this channel can identify those things pretty damn well.
Yeah.
So I don't know necessarily if he's banged up. Maybe he is, but that wasn't the problem. His physical limitations were not the issue Saturday for me. It was the seeing the field, the processing of the reads were the primary issue. There's no scanning. I don't know if you watched the film today, but there's no, I'm going to work my read. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, check down. There's none of that. It's, I'm going to stare at this read, and then his eyes just randomly flash at rush that he thinks is coming, and then they go right back to the read that he was locked on, and then it's right back to the rush, and then it's scramble. That doesn't look like a quarterback that's comfortable, whether or not he's injured or not.
Yeah, it's weird because I caught the back end of that Tennessee game on Saturday. Watching him, I felt like 2 things. One, he wasn't going through progressions as well as he should have, but he was also staying in the pocket too long. Like, you are one of the better athletes. You're probably the best athlete at quarterback this year, with the exception of maybe Cam Ward. Why are you staying back there and just waiting till the last second before you have to do something? It felt very weird to me. Go move the launch point, then start your read over. That's exactly what makes you so dangerous, is you can buy yourself more time.
It also didn't help that they dropped him back like 32 times in the first half.
A lot.
So much so that to get the run pass split even relatively close, they opened the second half with 7 straight runs. It's just weird. It's weird things going on over
It's
there.
an offense that can't really figure out themselves.
Yeah.
They can't find any groove right now.
I'd be interested to, if I were in those meetings or in those press conference rooms, the first thing I would ask Kalen DeBoer is like, who's got play calling duties? And who's got play calling responsibilities? Who's got play design responsibilities? Which
one of you's in charge?
Yeah, who's in charge here? Who's in charge here? That's what I would want to know. Because I think one of the things that didn't get talked about enough, maybe it did, but the idea that Ryan Grubb left this guy, right in the middle of the transition period. Ryan Grubb's now in the NFL. This is the guy who was with him the last 2 years at Washington. And now Nick Sheridan gets elevated to a play calling role, an offensive coordinating role. And I think there has been some deterioration, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
So, all right, that's the first what if. Who's got one?
What if USC loses to Rutgers on Friday? It would be their 4th loss in a row. They would be 3-5, and they have Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, and Notre Dame remaining on the schedule.
Bro, if you can't beat Rutgers, you're losing everybody but UCLA on that remaining slate.
If you don't beat Rutgers on Friday, there's a very good chance you are not bowl eligible this year.
Oof.
A very good chance.
Ooh, man, that's tough.
After beating a potential SEC champion in LSU.
Yes.
What?
Boy, if that ain't 2024 in a nutshell right now.
That's crazy. So Sheridan's calling the plays.
What if
Interesting.
Georgia provide the blueprint for stopping a Sark offense?
The blueprint is stop the piss up out the run
Mm-hmm.
and have enough DBs and linebackers to cover bunch formations with man-to-man too high? Yeah, I guess. How many teams out here got that one?
I was about to say
Texas A&M?
it almost feels
Texas A&M's got it.
Texas A&M has
it's
it.
almost no different than, Georgia's provided the blueprint of maybe how to stop Tennessee's offense. You got to have some special athletes on your defense still.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't just as simple as, this is how you have to do it. Just do what Georgia did. Well, Georgia can do that because they have the players and the personnel to be able to do that.
Yeah, that was kind of the what if I thought. Like, everyone's going in here to this game saying, what we saw with Georgia, how they stopped Texas's offense, Vanderbilt can do the same thing. Well, maybe not. Maybe there's a reason why Georgia is as talented as they are. So, not to squash the hopes of Vanderbilt fans, because I would love to see that upset too. But
Yeah, I don't think it's happening this weekend. What if UNLV puts the absolute clamps on Ashton Genty?
nah, it's not.
Nah, that ain't happening.
Maybe if Matthew Slucka was still slinging the pill over there.
Nah, ain't happening.
No, definitely not. What if the Big Ten never got rid of divisions? I asked this question because if they hadn't, you would be looking at Penn State, Indiana, and Ohio State fighting for a division title right now. And then I know that doesn't include like Oregon, where would you put them and whatnot, but still. Imagine that. Imagine like Oregon and all of the Pac-12 teams never come over to the Big Ten. We're just standard ops college football from last year, and you got Indiana in the thick of it with Ohio State and Penn State.
I mean, the reality is Indiana's still in the thick of it, even if without divisions.
No, I know, but
That's the funniest part to me is that like the entire appeal of around divisions was that finally it's not going to be the Iowas or the Wisconsins getting their heads bashed in against the big boys like Ohio State and Michigan. And it's Indiana in the year where there's no divisions. It's just the best records against the best records. Indiana has one of the best records in the Big Ten right now. That's the funniest thing to me about this.
But too, like you'd have to think for Ohio State's position of if they were coming into this year with divisions, they'd be like, oh, Michigan, they're not going to be what they were last year. They're not going to be what they were the last 3 years to where they could probably beat us. They're probably going to have a major down year. It's ours to lose. Indiana, undefeated, going into Week 9 of college football.
Insanity.
Good luck to you.
Insanity.
What if Florida State does it?
No.
That's up there with
What
UNLV is
if,
going to box up.
What if though?
Ashton.
Because here's the thing.
Then go ahead.
Is the firing talks of Mike Norvell's the hot seat talks, are those all over?
That's what I was saying. Like what I was about to interrupt you with is, I don't even know if the seat's gotten hot yet.
No.
They have so much money left on that or on that salary and on that contract that I think they've just chopped this up as we suck this year. We're going to reroute the entire roster again next year. Maybe we'll be good in 2. You know? Maybe we'll be good in 2.
Is that honestly beneficial? The fact that they've been so bad.
It's never good to be this.
But
never good.
I agree.
Never good.
But to the point now where I mean, if Florida State fans can check out emotionally, mentally, they could have done that 3 weeks ago. To where now it's just like this season will be what it'll be.
Did you hear? I mean, you know what? I might hop on.
hear?
I might hop on board with this. Did you hear that someone reversed the curse?
Dude, did you see
they ate
that?
some dog shit.
Oh,
A
man.
little kid ate some dog poop.
Like how old?
Like maybe 12.
Nah, he was like 14. He was. In
I
high
don't know,
school.
man.
He was high school age.
Oh, I don't know if I go that far. It was a kid. It's a
Can we
kid.
just stop with all this? Like, I hate that this is happening on social media now, where it's like, I'm gonna shove a burrito up my ass if my team
post 2 pictures of it?
One guy upped it and said, I'll do it with Diablo sauce on the burrito.
Can you even shove?
No,
Wouldn't it fall apart by?
you would imagine, but it was a cheek clincher for sure.
Man,
No, I mean, as
Chat saying fake news. It wasn't real shit.
I don't know. It was on the ground.
it looked real.
It looked real
I
to
would
me.
be shocked if that would be the second time I've seen someone eat poop on a internet video.
Mm.
I think we all know what the first one was.
Ah, yes.
Let's move on.
What if Texas A&M is just slap dominant again at home against another top 10 football team?
This will be their best win of the season then, because I mean the Missouri win loses its shine a little bit, but going in and beating LSU, a team that all of a sudden everyone's really started to respect. I know the first half of the season was kind of, I'm not exactly sure LSU's good. They struggled with South Carolina, lost to USC, kind of took a while to get off the ground against UCLA. If they win this game handily, I think they're a legit contender.
We just had 10 people leave the live stream. Do you think it was the poo talk?
No.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm definitely ending up on no context later.
For sure.
Well,
What if Duke never gets ranked? They're 6-1 right now. All right,
Anti-Manny Diaz deep state?
maybe they're 6-1 right now. I know it's not a pretty 6-1. All
How
right,
many people do you think just now remembered that Manny Diaz was the head coach at Duke?
A lot of people.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too.
Yeah, they're 6-1 right now. They got SMU this week, Miami the next, with NC State, VTech, and then Wake Forest. So you got 2 ranked teams coming up on your conference slate. The best one, or what many people consider to be the best one in the conference, SMU, who's just kind of ran out of nowhere. It's like, oh, SMU ranked now again.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to me that you're 6-1, you're in the ACC, and I think it just goes to show, like, that is how bad the ACC is, because you have a team that is 6-1 and they're not ranked. Vandy beat Ball State by 10 points and they're in the top 25, but you're 6-1. You can't get no love.
it's a tough world. It's a cold world out here. I meant to ask you this earlier with the Jalen Milroe one, but what if Jalen Milroe starts and Alabama just absolutely destroys Missouri? How far back does the pendulum swing in the favor? Because, I mean, right now, it's the end of the world if you're an Alabama fan. You need to bench Jalen Milroe. Kalen DeBoer might not be the answer here. Things are going terribly. If they come out and win this game handedly, like cover the spread by 10 points, do people, oh, okay, we just had a bad stretch, or is it kind of still red flags everywhere?
Did Brady Cook play?
It's a great question.
In this sense, I would say no.
If Brady Cook doesn't play, either way, even if Brady plays and they beat the shit out of him, I think the national narrative is far more about how bad Missouri is and how fraudulent they are, as opposed to, did Alabama get it right? We just watched Alabama struggle for a month. A month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time. Well, not a month. Let's go 3.5 weeks, right? Because they played Georgia a month ago. So for 3.5 games, we've watched this football program really, really struggle to consistently be good. So I think it would be far more about how bad Missouri is.
Yeah,
than,
one game.
Then Alabama got it right.
A one-game performance doesn't really change much for you at that point. You'd have to do it consistently. Consistency is the key. You got to do it more than once.
I guess the chat's now debating the importance of the color purple, so that's awesome. What if Signetti absolutely smokes UW this weekend with a backup quarterback?
Cigaretti. Ooh, dude. I think we're going to have to start really respect. I think last week was kind of the, hey, they're good. They're a good football team. If they do it again with the backup quarterback, it's going to be scary.
Let's play a game, and let's give the chat an opportunity to get in this one. So I want you to hold for a 3 count. Can you name me Indiana's new starting quarterback? No.
Yeah, you can count as long as you want. I ain't giving that one to you.
The Tennessee fans in the chat might get it. Taven Jackson, former 4-star commit to the Tennessee Volunteers, transferred to Indiana this past offseason, 6'5", 220 pounds. Going to be slinging the pill for the Hoosiers this weekend.
Okay.
Shout out.
I like it.
Big shout out to that, man.
Would you hire Signetti on the spot if you're the Florida Gators if he comes out here and puts up 50?
50? I don't know. This Washington defense gave up 41 points to Iowa.
Crazy work. Had no idea where it came
Very
from.
bad.
To Iowa.
No idea where it came from.
To Iowa.
To Iowa.
I had to emphasize that one a few times. To Iowa.
I think Iowa scored 28 points this last weekend against another Power 4 football team.
Offensive juggernaut?
Juggernaut?
Whoa.
God, Brian Ferentz is never getting another job ever. Ever.
Tough.
I went back and looked at it because I was looking at some stats for something today. I cannot believe that offense averaged 3.64 yards per play last year.
That little.
3.6?
It's either 3.6 or 3.9. Either way, horrible.
So
about
to convert
3.6
first downs, they had to go for it on fourth?
Basically, yeah.
That's crazy
They needed
work.
5 downs.
That's crazy work. What if Vandy does it again? I don't believe this one either.
I don't think
It's
so.
hey, this is
either.
what ifs are for. This is the hypotheticals where we entertain.
Yeah, but
what
I
if it
don't,
does?
even, I don't even feel good about what if in that one. I just don't think it's going to happen.
The problem with Vanderbilt, though, is that I feel like even if they did beat Texas, like I don't think people are going to be around here stamping Vanderbilt as one of these contenders. It'll just be that, like,
No, they won't be a contender, but they'll be the most fun and cherished team in college football. No one loves. The only thing people love more than their own team is another team that can ruin a bunch of other good team seasons. And if Vanderbilt does what they did to Bama and then Texas, two teams that were at once ranked number 1 in college football and are more of the more disliked brands in the sport, Vanderbilt's going to get love from everyone. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to be I mean, I'll start cheering for Vanderbilt in that case.
I saw something that I wanted to read. Where was it? Oh, this right here. This is a quote. If this is real, this is worse than Mike Gundy admitting that he drove hammered thousands of times. Nebraska's OC said he wants to get 3 to 4 yards per play.
I listened to this quote the other day. He was asked, so I believe they're averaging somewhere around like 4 yards per play right now. And someone in the media asked the OC, what would your mark be? Like if you were to average something, like what would your landmark be of like what you think a good average is? And he's like, I don't know. I guess somewhere between like 4 and 5. And they were like, okay, for so the media guys like, okay, for perspective, like this is the average. This is where you are. He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know the answer to that. Somewhere around there, though.
Buddy, that's rough.
Yeah.
This is why you don't throw coordinators in front of microphones. Not unless you have to. Not unless you have to. No need for them to be up there.
Yeah, give him the one mandatory, here he is, ask him some questions.
This is, in the chat, hit it on the nail on the head. This is Beamer's old offensive coordinator.
I can't think of his name right now.
I would only know his name because of how much they shit on him.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I remember him as well.
They didn't like him.
No.
Satterfield?
Yes.
Scott Satterfield. Boom. Maybe.
Scott Satterfield is a former Louisville coach, right?
So maybe a Satterfield that is.
It was a Satterfield, though, I believe.
Okay. Tremendous content. Who's on upset alert, boys? It is the title of the show tonight. Oh, you got one more? Come on.
What if Auburn loses to Kentucky?
Cool.
Does the hot seat get any hotter for Hugh Freeze?
No.
You think
he's got a top 10 class? He is cruising to next year. If he sucks next year, then it's hot.
So no matter what, he's fine this year.
Yeah, based off the recruiting intel.
Okay.
Right? Based off what he's doing on the trail. And that's what's great. That's what's great about being in today's day and age of college football. We can really tell who's on the hot seat and who's not. We can tell whose boosters believe in them and who doesn't based off of the recruiting intel. And there's no way faster nowadays to get fired than losing momentum on the recruiting trail.
Yep.
It's the easiest way to get cooked. And I think we can either transition now into buy, sell, and hold these hot seats because we're already here. So let's do this. All right, so here's how we're doing this. We have a list of football coaches that we believe are on the hot seat. We are buying, selling, or holding the stocks of these football coaches, starting with Mack Brown. I am sold on the fact that this is it. This has got to be it. It's time to go back to TV, and he's great on TV. Could you imagine College Game Day with both Nick Saban and Mack Brown sitting next to one another? We got a happy-go-lucky old guy and a curmudgeon. Oh, my God, they're perfect for one another. Also, major key why I think it's time to go, he's running out of fired best friends to hire as his defensive coordinator. He tried with Gene Chizik, giving up about 45 a game, and now he's going with old Geoff Collins, and Geoff ain't doing no better anyways. Yeah, old Geoff getting cooked right now, dude.
I said I'm selling this as in I don't buy he's going to be fired this year. I do think it's going to be a kind of a retirement of some sorts. I think he's going to be strongly encouraged to retire this year, but he won't be fired. I think he's too. Yeah. I mean,
politely asked to leave.
The breaking news.
I wasn't kicked out of that bar. I was politely asked to leave.
The breaking news. Great one. The breaking news note. He's not going to say fired, but he got fired.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. I think if this isn't it, then when is it? Like if this isn't going to be the year you do it, he's just going to coach and coach and coach.
All right, Brett out there in Oklahoma. Seat get a little warm, but I'm holding this one right now. It's unfortunate for you that Jeff Lebby left. You obviously didn't hire a very good coordinator this time around, But this is the time, man. You only have so many coaches to walk to the brig before you're the coach walking to the brig. This is the first warning shot, and you don't get a second one normally.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's kind of holding up, and I'm not buying he's getting fired this year either, just because the defense is so damn good. What you're known for is so good. You had the rug swept from under you with Jeff Lebby leaving, so it's understandable that your offense is bad. Secondly, the injuries that you've had at wide receiver position in particular have been devastating. Now, the quarterback decision doesn't exactly help you much. Going with Jackson Arnold there over Dylan Gabriel ended up not being a great choice, but I think that he'll be okay this year just because of the fact that the defense has been so good. It's the first year in the SEC, so give it time on Brett.
I'm holding because he is spending all of his scapegoats right now. I mean, you've used both quarterbacks. The injury points are there, and then also you've had some changes offensively in your coaching staff. So, like, you're using everything you got right now to take the tension off of you and make it seem like you're making changes, but I don't know. That would just kind of scare me.
Navy guy points out the fact that Brett got an extension this year. That was a FUPA extension.
Yeah, that was
one of those, we kind of believe in you.
That was an optics extension.
Yes.
That's for people to say, hey, he got an extension this year.
He's safe.
I think he got $2 million extra.
He got $1 million a year bump, I believe it was, and an additional year tacked on to the length of the contract. It was not a we believe in you, you're our guy type of extension, like the one that Norvell, unfortunately for Florida State fans, got this offseason. He got the we believe in you. Here's through 2031. Oklahoma, not so much out there with old Brett. Lincoln Riley, where we sit right here. I'm holding. Yeah, I'm holding, and here's why. He's got 4 losses this year by a combined 14 total points.
Wow.
It ain't like he's getting embarrassed.
But
it's USC, so that's not the bar. I'm with you. But new conference, new growing pains, worst quarterback he's had probably in a long time. Sorry, Miller Moss. I don't mean to do that to you. But, maybe the seat gets a little warm if you lose a commitment flip of a 5-star quarterback to Indiana. If you do that, we might have to stare at you a little bit funny.
Yeah, I mean, his coaching career definitely feels like it's hinging off of what's coming down the track.
It's on the downtick. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, you lost one of your top defensive players already. He cut his season short, said he's going to the
18?
Barry Alexander.
Oh, never mind.
But
I thought you were talking about the actual football player.
Oh, no.
But like the really, really good linebacker / safety that they got going.
No. I'm saying Barry Alexander already dipping on out.
You confused me because you said one of their better players, and he wasn't on the starting rotation. So they didn't think he was one of their better players.
Not this year.
Okay.
Years prior, he had been that for them, is what I should have said.
I'm kind of buying that he's out of there this year.
Interesting.
I think that the amount of losses you've taken this year, losses you can't have. I understand losing to a Michigan. I would have understood losing to LSU, but Minnesota's a bad loss. I mean, just the losses you've had all together are just.
Dog got beat by Wisconsin.
Yeah, you got handled in the first half. Had to come back crawling from that one. So it's the multitude of losses. You're already at the point in the season where you're looking down the barrel of a 6-loss season.
It's all the M's, man. Minnesota, Maryland, Michigan. If you're playing the M school, hey, good day for you.
Mike Loxley drug his ass to deep water.
Can't have that.
Gus Malzahn? This is tough for me.
I would say, I don't know, because apparently they're favored against the 11th best team in the country.
Isn't that wild?
I don't understand.
No belief in the BYU. None.
I don't understand that at all. All I know is Vegas obviously knows something that I do not. So I would stay away from that one.
Vegas is like me. They keep holding on to the Gus Malzahn stock thinking they're going to get made right that week.
Did the backup play well? Because it's not KJ Jefferson. Let's find out.
This is news to me. It's a real weird situation if you look at it, because it just got done talking about, look at the recruiting momentum. They've got it, at least from a Big 12 standpoint. They're top 30 right now in recruiting. They have 18 commits in 2025. I always, like I said, always think this guy's going to get it right, and that they recruit well enough and they've got enough talent on the roster to be really, really good in the Big 12, but it just doesn't happen. It just keeps not happening for these guys. And guess what? They're 3-4 right now, and the schedule only gets harder for these guys. They got to face the BYU this weekend. They got Arizona, then Arizona State, West Virginia, and Utah. So, like, if you lose out, and they're on a 4-game losing streak right now. If you lose 9 in a row, I don't care how well you're recruiting right now, you got to go.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, too, like, being at UCF now, you're no longer like this group of 5 project school where every now and then we expect you to be good. You're in the Big 12. You're in a Power 4 conference fighting for a playoff spot. There's no longer this extended period of time where you can be mediocre and then spurt out a 10-win season and everything's okay.
Chats are currently trying to figure out what they should call themselves. I've always liked La Familia, but it's really hard to say. The idea that we are a family based off of film. Familia.
Yeah.
I've always liked that, the familia. But I don't know. I don't like to name those things. I like to let them organically happen. So if you guys want to vote on something, go for it. But that's what we are. We're a group of people and a group of audience members who are in search of ball knowledge based on film. We are a family that loves film.
Or family.
Or filmily.
Family.
Something like that. So I'm selling, I guess.
Yeah, I'll sell.
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't know why I feel that way about Gus, but I do. I like Gus.
Man, I
Gus
ain't
Bus
feel
is
sorry
fun.
for him. He coached at Auburn for a long time. He got another head coaching
He's
job.
still getting paid by Auburn.
He
Would
all right.
Auburn take him back right now?
Oh, that's a great question.
I think I did see some Auburn fans being like, "What? We should have just
You
kept
guarantee-
Gus."
Just kept
You
Gus.
guarantee me you're 9-4, 10-3. Always give Bama fits.
Ain't a bad place to be.
I mean, going off of what they did the last 2 years, I mean, I'd take that deal. Damn good deal.
Damn good deal. Billy Napier.
I have no idea.
Right?
I have no
Right?
idea.
What?
We were we were never. There's never been more certainty on this show that Billy Napier was a dead man walking heading into 2024.
Yeah.
And we were even more certain of it after the Miami game, after Texas A&M was like, well, it's over. This team has given up on him. They don't look good. They're not talented. And then I'll be damned. They start putting up fights. You give Tennessee everything you want to handle. You handle Kentucky, and it's looking around. It's like, is Florida not a bad football team? Is Florida fighting for Billy Napier? What does 2025 look like if he can make it there? Maybe they win another game here in one of this close out of the season of 5 difficult teams. I don't know.
I think the problem is that no matter how great or even how poorly this season goes, but if it goes great, like to Florida standards of great this season, knowing what you have on your roster, knowing the circumstances of you lost Graham Mertz for the rest of the year, I think you got to take the emotion out of this of like, maybe he can get it right, though. We had some faith in him. Maybe he can get this thing right. I think you've kind of seen the ceiling. I think you've kind of seen as good as it's going to get for Florida and Billy Napier. But, I mean, sure, you can kind of hold on to the fact that DJ Lagway, year 2, he's had some more starts under his belt going into this next year because he's going to play this year. I just don't see it I don't see it getting too much better for you, honestly.
So he's got a really, really good thing going for him down there in this 2 things. One, his team is still fighting, still playing really, really hard, it seems. Young quarterback, that's another thing going for him that's signed to play for him. The third thing that he's got going for him is the fact that this AD, I believe, is tied to him.
Yeah.
I don't know if this AD survives another hiring process. So when your job's tied to the guy that you got in the position, it's going to require probably the president of the university or the biggest boosters to get rid of him. But here's the caveat to that.
So does that mean that Billy Napier's job is kind of hinging on what the basketball team does this year?
No, Billy Napier's job, in my opinion, is hindering on whether or not he can go get one single solitary recruit to commit to him in the next month. He's got 12 commits in 2025.
Ooh, gross.
We're less than 2 months away from National Signing Day.
Man,
Yeah, you got some serious work to do.
I mean, work. You got to go. It's what we just got done talking about. It's not just you got to go develop relationships. You got to go basically flip commits because 90% of the blue chippers are already gone. It's not just that. You've now got to go convince boosters who do not believe in you that you need money to go sign good football players. So as much as Scott Strickland and that AD staff is tied to this individual, eventually that booster base will look at them and say, sorry, tough shit. You're gone too. Because we're not going to allow this negative recruiting momentum to continue. And right now, there is no momentum on the recruiting trail for Florida. And that to me is the indication that no matter how much the AD wants this guy to stick around, the booster base does not. And that's the fastest way to get cooked. We've seen it with Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn was like, oh, you want to hang on to that Gus Malzahn guy? That's fine. We'll
Get
pay him
outta
out
here.
$22 million.
Get
Oh,
your-
you want to hang on to this Brian Harsin guy? Don't worry. We'll leak that he's cheating on his wife, and then we'll pay $19 million to get rid of him. We don't care. We just want this guy gone so we can start recruiting together. All right. Shane Beamer?
I think he's fine.
I'm buying stock, and it's not
Yeah.
because I gave the feet for free this week.
I think he's fine.
Oh, he's more than fine.
Yeah, I mean, what this South Carolina team has been probably the second biggest surprise of the SEC behind Vanderbilt.
This was best case scenario for Shane. You may not be winning, like you're 4-3 right now, which doesn't sound great, but it sounds good when you put it like this. You nailed Kyle Kennard, getting him out of the transfer portal. That was a hit. So you've proven that you can find good. And Raheem Sanders, he's been playing well for you as well. And then also you have a young quarterback. You have a young left tackle. You have Nick Harbor, who's in second year. You have Dylan Stewart, who's a true freshman. And then you have a few other young football players on your defense as well. You have some vets as well. So you're going to lose some guys on both sides of the football this year. But you look like a team that's fun to watch right now, a team that could be ascending, could be playing their best version of football down this half of the stretch of the season with some exciting games mixed in. I mean, you got Texas A&M, you got Missouri, and you have Clemson to close out the year. Win one of those or even two of those. Dare you win two of those. You're going to be more than fine. You're going to have people believing in that program again.
There's a request for a collaboration between Peyton and I
We've had that
in the
before.
chat right now. We have.
Yeah.
And there will not be another one until the home and home is relinquished. So there you go.
He's got to invite you on. Then.
You damn right. This ain't no one-way street, brother.
Does he have guests ever?
Yeah, Kubelik. I don't know if it's still happening. But yeah, no, we ain't. We're going big league the big leaguer. How about
Big
that?
league, the big
We're
leaguer.
going big league the big leaguer.
That's fair.
I'm holding on, or I'm buying Shane Beeman stock. I can't believe it. Sam Pittman?
He's fine.
He's
fine.
fine.
He's fine.
I did some research on this today, boys.
On Arkansas football.
On Arkansas football. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Coaches to win 10 games at Arkansas. There's only 4 of them.
Okay.
5, excuse me. My man Petrino won to 11 games and then had the motorcycle incident. You know, had to get gone after that. Houston Nutt won 10 games at Arkansas, then proceeded to leave Arkansas for Ole Miss. Ken Hatfield won 10 games at Arkansas, left Arkansas for Clemson. Lou Holtz won 10 games. They fired him.
When did Lou Holtz win 10 games? What year was that?
Late 70s, early 80s.
Shout out to
Out
the
there at
coach.
Arkansas.
Shout out
Frank
to the
Broyles won 10 games at Arkansas, and they fired him. So basically, here's the lineage of Arkansas football coaches who are good. They win 10 games, then they have a drop-off and get fired, or they win 10 games, don't wait around for the drop-off, get the hell up out of there. So here's why I think Arkansas should just hold on to Sammy the Pit Boss as long as they possibly can. He ain't going nowhere.
No.
He ain't going nowhere. If he wins 10 games at Arkansas, all he's going to do is ask for a bigger hog in the backyard. That's it. This is the one.
I think we all want a bigger hog.
What team are we not talking about enough right now in college football?
I'll let y'all go first because I've got the answer. I think.
Okay.
Man's going to build the suspense after dropping that one.
I can go first if you want, but I'm.
All right. I'll go ahead and go first. I don't think we're talking about just how bad Florida State is. I truly
We're not
don't.
talking about it enough.
We're not talking about it.
We're not
Buddy,
talking
the
about how much
fans
this
showed
team
up to the
sucks.
stadium with bags on their head against
And
Memphis.
They ain't talking about
They
it.
had people coaching with Waffle House menus.
Shirtless.
What?
You didn't see this?
No.
Dude.
Oh, you got
There's a guy in the stands, completely shirtless, has a Turtle Beach headset on and a Waffle House menu,
Pretending to call
and is
plays.
acting like he's calling plays for the
Love
team.
that.
Anyways, let me just hammer this home real quick. for
Come
you.
on.
They're averaging 15 points per game this season. Kent State is averaging more points per game than Florida State. UAB is averaging more points per game than FSU this year. UMass is averaging more points per game than Florida State is this season. Again, 15 points per game. They have just 202 more yards of total offense than they do total yards of punt via punt this season.
Disgusting.
Only 202. They have scored just one more point than the total number of first downs gained this season.
How's that possible?
It's pretty
They have
bad.
scored 105 total points this year. They have gained 104 first downs this year.
It's going to be crazy when they beat Miami this Saturday.
So, yeah, I didn't think we're talking about it enough.
It's historically bad.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah, I got to say, you took the segment in a completely different direction, and I think he's the most
I'm not
right.
mad at you.
We're not talking about how Florida State sucks enough.
We are not talking about how bad Florida State is enough. Interesting. What else are we not talking about enough, Curb?
I think, and I can't believe we're doing this one. I'll say this one first because there's the other one. Colorado hasn't been talked about enough by us.
Sneaky good football team in the race for the Big 12. Nobody's talking about.
Yeah, like we said, 6-6 this year, they'll improve. They could be in the playoff this season. I mean, and I don't think that any of us expected that. So,
And they survived their matchups without Travis Hunter.
yeah.
Do you think it's because
I think they had a bye week. I don't know if they played without him.
Do you think maybe why people aren't talking about them is because they fought and fought and fought for relevancy last year, and they did it again this offseason? And last year they were fighting for relevancy when nobody felt like they were relevant because they really weren't. They were a pretty bad football team. Their record didn't show any signs of them being a good football team, but they kept talking and kept talking. And now it's, okay, all this relevancy you wanted, you kind of got it. And now that you're good, it's like, well, we don't need to keep talking about you because the only thing we wanted to talk about was you keep wanting to be relevant, but you're not proving that you're relevant.
I think it was also a fact of the media really pushed Colorado last year, especially those first 4 weeks, that people got so tired of it. And then obviously the season ended like it did for them, and everyone kind of pointed their finger and laughed. So I think the media's kind of been hesitant to push Colorado and say like, hey, look at this. What's Coach Prime doing today? So that's my take on it.
I think my take on it is that it's way funner and way easier, and the content and the ratings are better when Colorado's a laughingstock as opposed to just saying, hey, this guy's actually winning games now.
Mm-hmm.
Should we talk about why the guy's winning games now? I think it's way easier to do the they suck, ha, 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 they suck. Because we haven't even done the ha, 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 they're good.
No.
So they're winning close games in the Big 12 to an extent.
Yeah.
True.
They beat the shit out of UCF, though. We'll see this weekend. Who do they got this weekend? It's a big game. And they got Cincy this week. 5-1 Cincy at 10:30. I'll be watching.
Real barn.
I don't think we're talking about SMU enough.
No, that was my team.
I think we're talking about
The
SMU enough.
Stangs?
Yeah, the Mustangs
Have you
handling the
seen-
ACC.
Have you
Year
seen
one.
the remaining schedule?
I don't care. Is it dog shit? It's the ACC schedule, so it can't be hard.
Well, 6-1. They have to play Pitt, Boston College, Virginia, Cal.
They dodged Clemson and Miami. And
And honestly, Florida State. I mean, that was a tough matchup at the start of the season.
Yeah, at the beginning, and you know what? When you said this, it rejogged my memory of why I believe I had a take where I said SMU is a sleeper in this conference for the sole reason that they don't have to play FSU, Clemson, or Miami this year. Now, I probably would have backed off that take very quickly when they played Nevada, and it was horrible. But now
They
here we
squeaked
are.
that one out, didn't they?
Yeah, barely.
A little fourth quarter one score
Barely.
win.
It was.
And then proceeding to house the rest of the ACC.
It was bad enough for me and I guess the entire country to completely check out on them.
BYU getting enough love?
Yeah, the BYU thing's really helped them out. I don't
I was
think we're
about
talking
to say,
about.
if you get a nickname for your team, you're getting talked about.
One that makes people go, are you allowed to say that?
Yeah. Whoa.
How upset do you think that the presidents and the brass of that university are that the main reference to them is BYU now?
I got to thinking about this when they were playing the game day thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I mean, you're a Mormon college that's pretty proudly Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
Very proudly Mormon.
Yeah, like the most proudly Mormon
Mhm.
university that there is. It's the only massive public Mormon university. And the face of your program right now is not Mormon. I don't know. I thought it was like you had to convert thing. That's what I always thought it was.
Nah, I don't think so.
No?
If you're good at football, you're good at football nowadays. They didn't make Manti Te'o convert to Catholicism.
I think you would have sold me as a 19-year-old. It was like, hey, a dozen wives if you want them.
Soda after 9:30.
I'd be like, but I do kind of like my beer. But he'd be like, don't worry, I got a premonition you're going sober by 25. And I'm like, ooh, multiple wives and sobriety? might sign up. Just kidding.
I have Clemson on here.
I thought you were going to say I've contemplated multiple wives before.
No. I
Sorry,
have
Miss
not.
Morgan.
Miss Morgan. Clemson. I have Clemson on here. And I think that the only reason why I feel this way is because all of the attention is on Miami.
Yeah.
And also because the schedule has been that bad for Clemson where nobody feels like that much praise is warranted. But the fact that you have a quarterback in the Heisman race right now, based off the odds, your quarterback is playing really well. I believe they have the most offensive plays that have gone for a touchdown of 20 yards or more in the country right now. That's saying something considering you didn't have a single one in week 1. So I think they're playing well. They're doing their job in the ACC, but nobody's really talking of Clemson of, hey, that team, that's one to watch out for in the playoff. Maybe one you don't want to play right now.
I don't think we're talking about Illinois enough. I mean, they're not a playoff team yet. They're not stamped as one of these like, oh shit, it's not Indiana levels yet, but they're playing really good football, and we'll be talking about them if they win this week. That's what I'll say.
Well, yeah, they play Oregon, right? Yeah, you will be talking about Illinois for sure.
The Brett Bielema man. Is that the is that an award winner for Sneaky Good Coach Award?
Yeah.
Well, if
Got a bad rep after the Arkansas run.
Do you remember that offensive line he had at Arkansas though?
It was like, yeah, the average height was like 6'7".
It was
6'7",
bigger than any
330.
NFL offensive line.
And they were dog shit.
Yeah, they weren't good.
Big and slow.
And didn't they also have Mallet playing quarterback at the time?
Oh yeah,
He's like
that sounds
6'7"
right. That
with a
sounds
chew.
That might it might have been Brandon Allen.
Man, good times. Also a big dude. You had to be big, I would imagine, to play quarterback there.
I only remember that because when Georgia played Arkansas that year, the entire talking point of that football game was, get a load of how big this offensive line is. They had a whole graphic made and everything, and then Georgia proceeded to beat them pretty badly.
Ryan Mallett was a fun watch back in the day, though.
Yeah, it was.
Any other teams we're not talking about enough?
I don't think we're giving. And we might be giving them it, but Texas A&M nationally, I don't think is getting the love it could.
I think people are waiting for it to fall flat.
Yeah,
I don't think they believe in
and
it.
I think it's also like there hasn't really been a really like, oh, Texas A&M is actually really, really good. We had that a little bit with Missouri, and then Missouri ended up being what they were. It's like Missouri's actually not that good. I think if they beat LSU, they'll definitely earn some
I
talk.
think that what Texas A&M, and this isn't their fault. It's just how the schedule ended up being of, you played Missouri, you beat the crap out of them, but then you have a bye week, so nobody's talking about your next game. So then it kind of dies off, and then when your next game does pop up, it's like, oh yeah, Texas A&M, especially after Texas lost. So now Texas A&M is the front runner in the SEC. Now it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about Texas A&M. They are in the front, but I think everybody's kind of holding their thoughts and feelings of both LSU and Texas A&M until after this weekend. Whichever team wins that's when everybody's going to be hopping on, pounding that one home.
Are we talking about Syracuse's ability to turn Kyle McCord into a dude enough?
I mean, I have.
Yeah, I think this channel's talked about it plenty. Hell, they're on my what I'm watching this
stamp
weekend
the
list.
orange, baby.
Don't stamp the orange.
Oh, yeah.
No excuses here.
Oh, there it is. That's a good one.
All right. Surprised undefeated teams. Who you got? Thank you for your service.
The servicemen. That's
Thank
all.
you for your
That's the only
service.
ones I'm shouting out here.
Little shocked Pitt's undefeated. Not shocked Iowa State's midden their way through the Big 12. They do it every year. Every other year, it feels like. Indiana's a bit surprising.
Absolutely.
I didn't think the Sig Man would be out here lighting it up like this. Even though, James Madison, I should have Googled him. All he does is win.
Yeah.
BYU, undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit surprising.
Surprising.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
pretty much
mainly the
covers it.
ones where it's like, oh wow, they could be making. You're still undefeated at this point. 5-0 teams like whatever. 6-0 is a little more whoa. So
All right, boys, should we introduce the newcomers to a little something called the Diddy counter?
let's do it.
Ooh. Yes, we shall.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we do a little film study around here. It's kind of what we're known for around these parts. And occasionally, when yours truly talks a little football, he says some things. So let's play it. Diddy counter this week. Did we break a record? Record's
No.
14.
Record's 18.
18.
Did not break the record.
All right, play that thing. Let's get sus. Let's shut up and let's grind. Two guys trying to pick the ball up at once. Oh my God, too long. He's getting licked up. This guy ain't coming. Not to blow anybody's bag out. Oh, and just don't hold it too long. He's coming for your throat right now, all right? Ooh, a little deep in the larynx there. Right, I think he's coming. I can't see, but I can still feel it. Would like that rub to hit a little bit harder as well. 100%, we're going in.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What's your favorite from this week? I don't mean to blow anybody's bag out.
That's a good one. I like, a little deep in the larynx right after. He's coming for your throat.
Yeah, those two right there are probably my favorite.
You know what you should do? You should hit him over the head with it again.
Double it up.
Yeah, just double it up on him right quick. Let's shut up and let's grind. Two guys trying to pick the ball up at once. Oh my God, too long. He's getting licked up. This guy ain't coming. Not to blow anybody's bag out. Oh, and just don't hold it too long. He's coming for your throat right now, all right? Ooh, a little deep in the larynx there. Right, I think he's coming. I can't see, but I can still feel it. Would like that rub to hit a little bit harder as well. 100%, we're going in.
Overtime.
A little deep in the larynx. What was the other one? I can't see it, but I can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy work. Welcome into our local hour. We got a loaded one for you guys tonight. We got fantasy updates, what we are watching this weekend in Georgia's second bye week. Confidence meter. We're going to go through the rest of the schedule on this regular season slate and give you our rankings from 0 to 10 on how confident we feel Georgia's going to win that football game. Bye week, is it coming at a good timing or a bad timing? Has this schedule become easier or harder as the season has progressed? We're going to get into some nostalgic tape tonight, maybe two of them. And is this the final year? Is this the final year that potentially a coach gets plucked up off of the roster? We'll be talking about it. But first and foremost, I want to start with a little fantasy update. I want to start today's local hour with a get right, feel good moment because I know I probably wiped the floor with the man again this week.
Oh, a lot of confidence.
I mean, why not? I'm the best. I'm the best there ever is.
Kirby did steal one last week.
Dubious.
He might do it again.
I
Dubious.
did steal one, dude.
Okay.
Dubious.
All right. Well, so to start off, ETN was the highest score of the week.
Of course.
He had
He would
3
be.
touchdowns, 16 carries,
Talk to me.
85 yards, I believe, or maybe even 86. Yeah, 124 points for the boy ETN. No points for Branson.
Don't
no
need
points
him.
for Colby.
Don't need
no
him.
points for Rob. Arian got you 41.
Yep.
So not his best day as what he's usually been putting up for you, but 41, considering all things, not too bad.
So wait a minute. I have Rah and Colby.
Yeah. No, you have Rob.
Oh.
Starks got you 9. Mecole, he got you 9. Munden didn't get you any. Aguero got you 7. TID got you 0. So a whole lot of zeros and donuts up on that scoreboard for you, Brooks. Going over to Kirby's way, Frazier got you 14. Kind of felt like maybe you would get a good bump there, considering that Brooks took all the running backs except for that one, and now Frazier's going to be getting quite a bit more burn. But ETN just too good not to play right now.
Yeah.
Dylan Bell got you 21. Lovett got you 39. Delp got you 30. Anthony Evans got you 10. CJ Allen got you 6. Everett with 13. Jalen Walker with 14. Dan Jackson with 6. Chaz Chambliss
Do I smell a dub?
with 5. So Kirby didn't have a single 0 on the scoreboard for him, while Brooks had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, Kirby. It still wasn't enough.
I didn't think it would be.
190 for Brooks, 158 for Kirby. Just a whole lot of not great scores for you, but not not really too bad. A bunch of people that just kind of put up some okay numbers for you. ETN continues to be the workhorse in this fantasy
Just
game.
put the squad on your back, my guy.
Yeah, I mean,
just put the whole squad on your back, baby. Let's go.
And looking back at it, I am okay with the way that goes there because I think that overall I have the better team. Brooks got the best player in the league.
This is what you're doing, moral victories?
He had the first overall pick.
Moral
There's nothing
victories.
I can do about that. You got the best player. You're winning right now. I give it to you. But you know what? My team consistently does more for me than yours has. So I'm supporting with my guys. I'm rocking with them.
I will
feel
say
good about things.
the overall points is getting a little closer. Brooks has 1,393 right now. Kirby has 1,333.
Well, good if there were a mythical tiebreaker when I don't beat him, 9 weeks to 1 at the end of it, then yeah, maybe
Brooks
he
is
can come in
5-2
second.
right now.
Hey, look. If you want to get carried by Trevor Etienne, that's fine. I'm more about a team. I'm a team guy, okay? Let Trevor Etienne not play one game. See how things go.
That did happen. I believe that was one of your only 2 wins.
Exactly. Hey, he's just who knows? Maybe Kirby says, Trevor, take the day off, man.
Maybe you'll get him for UMass.
See, chat saying I got to choose to pick first. No, I didn't. We flipped the coin.
No, there was a coin flip. I'll be fair.
It was fairness.
There
Fair
was a
square.
coin.
All fairness. And
There
it's
was a
not my
coin
fault.
flip.
He waited 5 rounds to draft the back. That's
Yeah.
not my fault.
No, it is not.
Well, I mean, had I drafted the back, they wouldn't be playing for me right now.
You just went BPA.
It's fine. I have no regrets anymore. I support my guys. I support the
This is the only fantasy that I play, right?
I remember the 1 year you played fantasy in our group. You didn't check your lineup a single time, and you still beat me.
That's tough. That's tough.
One of those weekends.
So this happened in 2 different leagues then, because the last year I ever played fantasy, I auto-drafted, didn't set a single lineup. I went 13-0. 13-0. And then get into the first round of the playoffs, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start tinkering. Got my ass whipped 2 weeks in a row, done. And at that point, it was like, I'm done.
You
I'm
went
done.
against the
Never again.
process. You can't mess up the process.
Basically. But no, it was over with at that point for me. I was like, I tried for years, and I was terrible at it. And then I gave up on it, and I was good at it. To hell with that. Boys, let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at Betr right quick. Betr is the place to be. If you're looking for college football props this season, you need to head over to Betr. Use promo code Brooks. You'll get a 100% deposit match on up to $250 over there. Guys, they are now offering college football props. Enter more than or less than on key stats, on key football games. And they're offering it in 23 states. Again, promo code Brooks. You can get 100% deposit match on up to $250 over there with Betr. Guys, we need you guys to go support those who support us. So run over to Betr right now and sign up. Again, using promo code Brooks over there for 100% deposit match. Appreciate those guys for helping us out this year and being one of our keynote sponsors. They've been a great partner for us this season.
Yeah, they have.
Make sure you're supporting those who support us. Boys, it's a bye week. What are you watching this weekend?
I'm going to watch the Raiders beat the Chiefs, baby.
What are you watching this weekend, Jay Will?
Oh, I'm all about this Indiana game because I feel like this is the first time this year where I'm really going to get to watch them. I hate that I'm not going to get to watch them when they're at their best offensively because they are going to have their backup quarterback. But there's not too many weekends where I just get to sit down and open up my day to say I'm making sure that when Indiana football kicks off that my TV is tuned into that one. I'm certainly watching that.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the Cincy at Colorado game. That's one. I mean, Colorado's the college football team to always tune into because no matter what, no matter who they're playing, it somehow is always explosive. It's somehow always close. So that'll be a fun game to watch. I'm also going to watch Illinois at Oregon. Dan Lanning, shout out, friend of the show. Want to see what they can do. This is a sneaky good matchup. So
yeah, it was on my list as well. I'm watching Oregon from here on out to see if they can, maintain consistency. It's been something that they've struggled with. Also, for as well as Dylan Gabriel is playing, he sure is having unopportune times to turn the football over. Real weird. A lot of red zone interceptions, just not clean football from a guy who's trying to play or playing some of his better football of his career throughout the rest of the games. It's just some of these interceptions are weird.
Definitely tuning in to Texas A&M LSU.
of course.
Because I have a feeling that I think this game is whoever wins, it's going to be one-sided. I think it might end up being a blowout. I feel like there's no way that both of these teams are undefeated. This is just my personal feelings. It feels like one of these SEC matchups for me where it's going to get built up because it is one of the really only one of the bigger matchups that you have in the conference this weekend. You have 3 teams on a bye, including Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee. So I just have this feeling that whoever wins this game, they're going to win it big.
I just want to randomly say that when I was in Austin this week, that a listener of the show and I exchanged a Zen. He had
is that the mango one?
I have wintergreen. I just put it in my mouth. And yeah, I have a citrus Zen in. So thank you, my man. It was a very pleasant surprise.
I remember watching this transaction, him going, here, this will be a little surprise for you later.
Yeah, and it just hit. Appreciate that, man.
That was what?
Good citrusy flow
That
going
was
on.
Friday.
Right
That
now.
was 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
We finally got to it. I'm definitely watching Fran Brown tomorrow against Pitt. It's part of the reason we're taking it off.
Man.
A lot of dogs in that football game as well.
There's a great
DOG and DOWGS.
pre-Saturday slate is unhinged this weekend, as it always is.
It's thick, ain't it?
Yeah.
2C's thick.
Well, so you got Syracuse, Pitt tomorrow, and then on Friday you got Louisville, Boston College. You got Boise State, UNLV, a Group of 5 powerhouse matchup. Talk to me on that one. And Rutgers, USC. I mean, you get to watch football on Friday night all the way till like 2 a.m.
Delicious.
Good foosball.
We're not talking about Alabama at Missouri enough. That's going to be a game I'm very much paying attention to. One, because I want to see, is Missouri as bad as everyone kind of thinks they are now? And 2, is Alabama really on a downward spiral? So I think that's going to be a game. That's also a game that I think that whoever wins, well, if Alabama wins, I think they're going to win in a blowout fashion. So I'll be interested to see that.
I lost all interest as soon as I found out Brady Cook was doubtful.
You're not going to watch number 6, whatever his name is?
Pyron or whatever.
That's Zach Pyron?
Pine?
That's not. It's Zach Pine. Pyron plays for Georgia Tech.
No, I knew that Pyron. I thought there was maybe 2. It's Pine, I think, is what it is. But yeah.
He's going to be riding it.
He deserves to be.
What?
And Missouri is likely out their top rusher. It's not setting up to be a good one.
It's not.
Tough, man.
We got a head coach at the microphone making jokes.
Bowl-bound.
Wearing bowl-bound shirts. Did you know Ryan Williams was 17?
He's bad to get.
I might just play 12 defenders all game, like Dan
Pull
Lanning.
a Dan Lanning.
We knew this was coming with drink, didn't we?
What, the goofiness?
The
downfall?
The corniness would outweigh the substance.
I mean, he was 7-6 the year before he went 10-2. And everybody kind of, including us, was kind of like, hey, good football coach. We'll see if you got a year 3.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see if you got a year 3. Any other games we're watching this weekend? Closely for Georgia purposes?
I mean, there's not. I mean, the Ole Miss Oklahoma game could be interesting because it is Ole Miss.
Maybe a little bit.
And how do they look against a defense that can show multiple facets pre-snap and kind of disguise coverage as well, like a Georgia defense does? But other than that, like, that matchup isn't really exciting for me, I don't think. I think we all assume that Ole Miss is just going to be able to lean on Oklahoma because they don't have an offense.
We went an entire hour-long national hour without talking about Ryan Williams painting his fingernails orange.
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
It's a pretty big deal, in my opinion. Not the whole painting your nails concept, but you just lost to one of your biggest rivals.
He
And
probably
you put their color on your fingers.
no one's entertained the fact that he probably knew that girl and lost a bet.
I think he said his daughter paints his fingernails.
Sister.
Younger sister.
Right, but probably lost a bet to someone.
I'm just saying that.
I mean, I get it's not good optics. But I don't think it's this scandal.
I thought I had a pretty funny tweet today. It didn't bang as hard as I thought it would.
It was funny. I liked it.
Yeah. 2024 Bama fans, quote, I don't mind if you paint your nails. Just don't paint them Tennessee orange.
Another game that I think Georgia fans should be paying attention to this weekend, Arkansas versus Mississippi State. Because Mississippi State has seemingly 2 weeks in a row
They got a little life.
They look
found
pretty good
some
against
life
A&M.
offensively, so I think it would be kind of confirming to you. Because, I mean, Arkansas has a top 50 scoring defense, so not one of these great ones, but they are one of the better ones in college football. So if Mississippi State does it 3 weeks in a row, maybe you don't feel so bad about yourself. Maybe you don't feel so down about, like, golly, we really let Mississippi State do that to us. So I think it would kind of confirm and maybe disengage some feelings.
Now, we have 2 nostalgic tapes tonight, right?
Correct.
Yeah, we do.
Do you want to split them?
Yeah,
do
let's
one
do that.
now,
Do
do
you
one
wanna do
later?
one now?
I think we got 2
Are you
good
fiending
selections.
for some nostalgic tape?
Hey, I'm always fiending for tape. You know how I am.
All right.
Always love watching ball.
You want to go to the board then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me make sure I have the right one. Yeah, this is the right one.
Is this the first one we said?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Field goal block to start. That's Marlon Dean.
No.
Oh, man, that's Marlon Dean's high school stadium, though.
This man keeps trying to do the walk-off.
No, that's Elbert County
like
for
we still
sure.
are going to watch the film.
That's
You gotta
Elbert
get
County
back
for
to the
sure.
desk.
Can you? Never mind. I got
Oh,
it.
no. Close your eyes.
I did. I didn't see it. Huh. It's not Mecole, is it?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it?
Oh, shit. Yeah, it's Mecole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's Mecole.
So fast, dude.
So fast.
Weird that he was recruited as a quarterback here.
Well, he played for an option football
Well,
team.
no, I'm saying he was recruited as a cornerback.
Corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
He was listed as a corner in the recruiting rankings.
Yes.
And
Who's this? Oh, my God. This is him against Jefferson. And this is, what kind of schedule did they play? That looks like Brunswick.
And they had, yeah.
The Wick, probably a playoff game.
Jeez.
Holy smokes. My Mecole Hardman story is one of my favorites from a football player's perspective, just in terms of the type of human that this guy is.
Great dude.
So I watched him. No, you're good. You can let it run. I watched him at a workout with my man TJ and Steph Brown. They went viral this summer for an unfortunate circumstance with Cam Newton. Nonetheless, was over there at a workout with these guys, and there were a couple high school kids working out with Mecole. One of them's Caleb Webb. Caleb Webb now plays at Tennessee. And he was explaining to them just the differences between the levels, right? And how when you get to the pro level, separation is minuscule. Like no matter how good you are at routing up, separation is very, very small. So you have to have the ability to have really tough hands and catch the football. But the most impressive thing I saw about Mecole was that every single drill that they did, he would dry rep. He would walk through the drill himself. 4 years into his NFL career, I mean, he's an established Super Bowl winner at this point, and he's still taking the steps of every single drill, making sure that he's walked through it, mapped it out mentally, and then attacked the drill. And it just reiterated to me that, like, talent's not the only requirement anymore. Like, it never really was, but talent's not the only requirement if you're going to survive on Sundays. This guy is surviving for seemingly a long time, despite the fact that he kind of fights the football, to be honest with you. He's
Not
always
a natural catcher.
No, he's not. He's not a natural catcher of the football, and it's almost one of those things where maybe it's not as important as some people think. The important thing is that you do scary shit with the ball.
Well,
in
it's
your
also
hand
when
we
you're
get
that
it to you.
fast and you can get that much separation, you don't need to have incredible hands like George Pickens. People are saying he would have done numbers in a Monken offense.
I mean, did he not do numbers?
He did pretty good.
He did. He was your wide receiver one for the 2 years that he
Y'all
was
went from what was his name? He wore 16.
Isaiah McKenzie.
Y'all went from Isaiah McKenzie to
the human
Mecole, right?
joystick, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good little transition of football players right there for you guys.
Oh, no,
They're actually on the roster at the same time in 2016.
Interesting. Yeah, that was a late coming 5-star as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Mecole was like unknown to most, and
Yeah.
then boom, popped as a 5-star. So
One
great
of the
football
first
player.
big recruits of the Kirby Smart regime, I believe.
Great football player,
Obviously
great human as well.
Yeah, obviously held on to Eason, but that wasn't your recruit.
Yeah, I would imagine he would have eaten in a Monken system. But
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you, Monken tried to sign one of those guys every single class and never really got one of them loose.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, he got Arian loose like once or twice early on. But I mean,
Arian did deal with a lot of injuries during that.
he did. But all of these guys do. All of these types of athletes normally
Mm-hmm.
deal with some type of injury concern because they're just not big enough. So, yeah, but I mean, the track record of those guys at Georgia after Mecole has not been great.
No, it hasn't.
Lad's
right?
been good. I would put
I
Lad
wouldn't
in
put
the-
Ladd in that conversation.
Really?
Ladd was signed as a quick, explosive athlete, not a straight line speed dude. I'm talking about the straight line speed evals that Monken was adamant on signing every single class. Those names in order, I believe, were Arian Smith, right after that, C.J. Smith, right after that, Anthony Evans. Okay? I would say he's 1.5 for 3.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good enough hit rate.
It's not horrible.
No, it's not horrible. All right, confidence meter. I'm excited about this.
Yeah,
We're going to look at the remaining games on the schedule and establish 1 through 10 how confident we feel that Georgia is going to win those football games, starting with next week's matchup down in Jacksonville, Georgia versus Florida. By the way, who's going with me to that football game?
Jay was.
We haven't heard anything from credentialing departments.
Oh, no,
though.
we did.
We did?
Yeah,
We're
got approved. Yeah.
This
Oh,
is news
dang.
to me.
Didn't get approved last year.
I didn't see the email.
They sent it Monday night.
Okay, I'll have to go back and look. So we're approved.
Yes.
That's good. I wonder if did you see if mine photo credentials were approved?
It just sent mine.
All right, I'm gonna have to go back and look at those then. But anyways, confidence meter, Florida. While I check this approval email, what's your rate? 1 out of 10.
I put it at an 8. I do. I mean, Florida has a little bit over the past couple of years played this game close in the first half. They've had some fight in them, and I think it's kind of caught some Georgia fans off guard, and maybe Georgia a little bit as a team. And I think that this could be one of those years again because of DJ Lagway, I think, is starting to get some more confidence. And this team isn't just rolling over and dying. Like, if you just jump out on them, I don't think they're just going to quit and let you completely embarrass them, especially because they it is a rivalry. They're not going to let Georgia just do that to them. But you are a much better football team than they are, and you should handle this football game. And they are still a relatively bad team.
I have it at an 8.5 because for a lot of the same reasons you are. You're the better team here. You've handled this rivalry. I think that, yes, there is a potential for Florida to come out and kind of surprise people and think, oh, wow, they're doing better than we thought they were. They're not absolutely rolling over like we saw them do in the first 2 weeks of the season and completely wrote them off afterwards. But at the end of the day, these are the games that Kirby Smart handles. These are the games that Kirby Smart wins. The only time that Florida has been able to beat Georgia was in 2016 when they had the superior team, let's be honest, and then 2020 when they had just studs on the offense. Kyle Trask was playing out of his mind. You had Kadarius Toney, you had Kyle Pitts. Like that, it takes a Florida team like that to beat Georgia. I've got this at an 8.5. It would be higher, but the fact is it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen, and it's one of those sneaky trap games from here on out. And we have seen Georgia kind of have a propensity to play up and down this year.
Good news, we were approved. You said 8.5?
Yeah.
8.51. 8.51.
He shows you.
The only thing
Still rounds down to 8.5.
the only thing that does create some bit of hesitation is I do think Lagway is special.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's a moment in that football game where he might create something.
Yeah.
And something big in that football game. Let's move on to Ole Miss. At Ole Miss, I gave it a 7.95.
I just gave it a flat 7.
Boring. Bless you, by the way.
Thank you.
Boring.
I went 7.5.
I also learned about Kirby. He's a double sneezer. I'm a double sneezer.
Sneezing pairs.
Sorry. Go.
Sneezing pairs. I gave it a 7.5. I think that, and that might honestly be high, but again, these are games Kirby Smart doesn't lose. Lane Kiffin has never really given Kirby Smart defenses problems, even when they weren't playing, or even when he wasn't at Ole Miss. There's that. Ole Miss hasn't looked great this year. I think we've all talked about what is this roster going to be fighting for when it comes down to they're probably not a playoff team right now. Their SEC hopes are kind of shot. So I think it's a talented team. I think it's a dangerous team. I think the fact that you're on the road doesn't play great for you, but Georgia should win this game. I feel confident in saying that.
If Ole Miss loses a football game over the next 2 weeks, I'm picking Georgia to win by 60.
Well, Georgia would be one of those losses over the next 2 weeks.
No, they got.
Are you talking about this
I'm
Saturday?
talking about Ole Miss. I'm talking about this Saturday or
Oh,
next.
if you lose to Oklahoma,
Ooh, that's
oh
bad.
God.
Bottom line, if you're a 3-loss football team going to this game and there's nothing left for you to play for,
Yeah.
you're gonna see a football team that has rolled it up.
Mm-hmm.
On to Tennessee.
6.
This is the one. This is the one where it's like, it could go either way. 6.5. Tennessee doesn't traditionally play well at home. Hypo offenses don't play well against Kirby Smart. They don't travel on the road very well either. It is a very talented team. It is a very good defense, and we've seen that this team has picked up a lot of steam with the Alabama win. That's why I have it at 6.5. I still feel confident Georgia could win, but if you told me that Tennessee wins this game, I would not be shocked.
We've seen a tremendous amount of growth in the Tennessee market as of late.
Yeah.
7.89.
Wow.
7.89.
Any reason why?
Schemes don't beat Georgia, first and foremost.
Facts.
Schemes definitely don't beat Georgia when they can't consistently hit explosives.
Facts.
And if there were a team you would pick in the SEC right now outside of Texas A&M to be able to shut down a run game, which is your bread and butter, Georgia has proven to be one of those teams that they can absolutely take that away from you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one.
UMass, I gave it an 11
Out of 10?
out of 10.
BMS.
What a throwback. Golly.
Like for a TBH and rate, only doing the ones I want.
I'm really racking my brain here for what that even means.
So
you're too old for
I'm
that?
too old for the BMS. Dude.
Man.
All right, I'll explain this to you. So back in like 2000, like when Instagram first really started popping off, you'd post something on your story, say like this for a TB8 and rate, or TB8 and rate. Person would like that. You would then go to one of their posts and comment TBH blah blah blah, and then give them a rate out of 10. But if you really really like that person, you'd give them BMS, which stands for broke my scale. That will only resonate with a very
Just
small,
some cringe middle school
very
stuff.
small part of the population. But if you get, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Cool.
I gave it a 50.
A 50?
I gave it
Yeah.
a 10. I wanted to stay within the
And if it was
parameters.
playing in that stadium that you so love, I'd bump it up to 60.
All right, let's take a quick moment to hit some super chats here. From 9 Mil Norm, 12 lives sounds like the exact opposite of fun. Enjoy the show. Keep it coming from Reese Williams. Josh Armstrong, is UGA cooking on the trail? Murmurs about the quarterback out of Hawaii. Safety flip we addressed in Patreon. Saw Malik something. Edge rusher is committing tomorrow. Any rumblings out of Terry camp post-Texas visit? The Justice Terry thing sounds like it got a positive bump after that trip out to Texas and watching Georgia's defensive line. The Malik something I'm going to have to check on there. He's talking about a safety flip that we addressed on Patreon. That is a safety out of South Georgia. I'll leave it there. Is UGA cooking on the trail? Murmurs about the quarterback out of Hawaii. I saw the quarterback out of Hawaii at the Elite 11. Georgia football quarterback. Big, physical, makes all the throws. Doesn't look like a superb athlete, but throws a tremendous ball. A tremendous ball. Not one of those lefty balls that spins weird either. It's got a very straight nose on it.
Mm-hmm. I've got a question for you. Is that the last super chat or
No, we got a couple more. Keep going with your question there.
Well, it's part of the. So Justice Terry was at the Texas game, correct?
Yes, that's what we were just talking about.
Why?
Why would Texas invite him out there?
That's what I'm saying. Why would you invite a team out there that's also heavily recruiting him? That, by the way, there's a chance you lose to this team.
Because if you win, then you feel in a great spot.
I mean, that's the risk you play, and I get that, but it seems like such a big risk.
And you gotta get him in the flicks. You gotta get him in the uni.
Wasn't he also there for the Bama game?
But all jokes aside, in today's day and age, you recruit everybody because you don't know if they're going to be in the portal in 6 months. You have no clue.
And I get that, but like bringing him out there when Georgia was kind of the presumed leader, like you have to imagine that he walked away from that being so much higher on Georgia than it was Texas.
I just think that it's we have nothing to lose situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a Georgia lean. If we beat him, we might have a chance to flip him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a win. It's a win-win for them with no area to lose. They weren't in that one anyways. I mean, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like it was always Georgia or maybe Bama.
So now you've got the opportunity. We're down the road. If he hits the portal, hey, remember
we showed you love.
Yeah,
you came out here. You're comfortable with
that. Makes sense. It always just seemed interesting to me to invite a guy out when there's a potential that you lose the game because that's probably one of the biggest hits to a recruiting battle. But
where'd you put Tech?
I gave Tech an 8.5. I have Tech in Florida as kind of the
What's up
same.
with all these decimals? Why did I not get this memo?
Because you're basic, bro.
No, I just wanted to be specific. I felt like, Jesus, dude, you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, man, hated it on the
he's got
basic drip.
He's got the exotic jacket on. Now he's hating on you, calling you basic.
Yeah. Man,
that's rough.
It's tough.
Anyways,
Cold world.
8.75.
8.75.
8.75.
I gave it 8.5 because I think it's very similar to the Florida game where, yeah, Florida is a tough team. Yeah, Georgia Tech can be a tough team. You're better than both of them. That's going to be a home game. They could be sneaky. It could be one of those surprise matchups. You don't want to be worried about. You don't want to not get up for it, but at the same time, you should win that game. You should come into it confident. And, oh, by the way, it's going to be a blackout.
Stick D's ask Brooks, who is a Georgia player very few people are talking about? Sources and/or sources is likely to be a huge contributor by the end of the season / beginning of the playoffs. I think we got our answer already, and it's Chris Cole, right? The way Kirby talked about him this week, you don't see Kirby go out of his way to stop a question, revert back to a question he had 10 minutes ago, just to give a compliment to a true freshman. That's very rare. So I would cop out and say that.
You got to rank Georgia Tech, or did you already? 8.75. That's right.
I put it at an 8, a flat 8. All right, just 8. No point, nothing. 8, because I think that, and this is so funny to me because, and it shows you how reactionary college football is. Because I mean, week 0, Georgia Tech beats Florida State, and it's man.
Damn, our schedule's got
Georgia
so much
Tech, I
harder.
don't know if I want to play them at the end of the year this year. Like this is getting a little interesting now.
There were debates on social media from Georgia fans as to whether or not you want Georgia Tech to be good again after that Florida State win.
Give me bad flashbacks right now.
By the way, to circle back on a potential flip, I just was told that they're not aware of anything imminent right now. Now, that could make me look really stupid tomorrow if something happens, but as of right now, I'm not preparing for anything imminent.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Roger.
But yeah, now Tech, they don't have a great defense. They can't tackle very well. Quarterback is banged up now. It seems like they have very much so plateaued. So I'll say that you should have a whole lot of confidence. You got that one at home this year as well. Last final home game. It's going to be senior night on a Friday night. It's going to be a good time.
I like that. Friday night game, dude. That's going to be crazy.
Do you think that they'll play the Saturday song?
Oh, man.
You might not get that one.
Friday.
Just tell
night's all right.
Tell DJ to give you the mic.
Elton John didn't write a song about
It's
Friday.
time to attack the day.
There's not going to be a Saturday in Athens.
Friday.
All the more reason you bucking so many traditions. Why not wear black jerseys? I'm just going to keep dropping that in until we get there.
You keep trying, buddy.
Trust me.
Hey, Kirby, are you guys wearing black jerseys? Hey, we like to keep the main thing around here.
Oh, he's not going to answer it, but it'll happen, man. Trust me, guys.
We have a very sidetracked Brooks right now.
Yeah, he's deep.
Look,
in that
man,
phone.
you guys want answers. I don't just spit them off at the hip. I like to make sure I'm right before I come to the mic and say something.
fair.
Sorry.
That's
Sorry,
fair.
I'm doing actual reporting right now while we're on live air. My bad.
Sorry. Has this year's schedule been easier or harder than expected?
Tremendous question. Let's answer it.
I've really thought about it, and honestly, I think it's been kind of as advertised. There hasn't, with the exception of Kentucky and Auburn being a little bit worse, and Mississippi State being a little bit worse than we thought. Like everyone kind of said, you're going to be a more talented team than Alabama, but winning on the road is tough. You should handle Clemson coming into the season. They're not necessarily going to be a team that's going to beat you. Texas, that's a toss-up. You could win that game. You could lose that game. But other than that, everything's been as advertised. I don't think we've gone through the season and gone, man, we went into 2024 thinking it was a grinder and it wasn't. Or we went into saying, we went into 2024 thinking it was be a tough schedule and it's a really tough schedule. I mean, Tennessee being better than they are, being where they are now is kind of the one thing where it's like, okay, maybe, but.
I would say there's two things, right? Bama, Texas, and Ole Miss are still really tough football games. Excuse me. But there are two football games, in my opinion, that have got tougher based off what we thought about them preseason, one of which is Tennessee's defense.
Correct.
Tennessee's defense provides a much larger challenge than I think most people originally anticipated going into the season. I also think with DJ Lagway at quarterback at Florida, they have become a more explosive and slightly more terrifying football team than what we thought they were going to be going into the year. I think most people thought that was going to be kind of a laughing stock throughout the year, and they've managed to not be a laughing stock outside of the first week of the season.
Yeah, I would agree with those two things right there.
Yeah.
I think that the Tennessee game, for me personally at least, has just kind of remained neutral. I feel like that this game is leading into what I kind of expected it to be. of a team that maybe isn't as consistent as what people had hoped they would be, but they're still good. I mean, they had a good defense last year. They got a good defense this year. Kind of had some up and downs, which is expected to have of a first-year starter. So I think that people kind of, too, just kind of glaze over the fact that Nico had only one start coming into this year and is in a bowl game. So he's still very much a young football player. There's still some room for him to grow, still some room for him to improve. And then, yeah, the Texas and the Alabama games were exactly what they were chopped up to be. So the schedule, but on the downside, though, the Ole Miss game, not exactly building up to be what it was advertised. I mean, everybody was saying, oh, Georgia might play 4 of the top 6 teams this year.
No, not everybody. Not everybody.
Yeah,
there was a certain channel that was like, that game's either going to be a top 5 matchup or potentially Ole Miss unranked if they're not careful. Because that ball rolls down the hill really, really quickly with teams that have an entire new roster that showed up in January.
Sometimes it happens in week 0.
Shout out Florida State. Shout out Florida State. Is that the worst freezing cold take of the year? And it wasn't Pete Thamels, but the NFL scouts that told him that was the best defensive line in the country. Is that as cold as it gets?
I don't know, because like the defensive line is not their only problem.
No.
If people said DJ Uiagalelei is the best quarterback in the country, I'd be shocked if he's not a finalist for the Heisman. That would be a freezing cold take. But the fact that the entire team as a whole has been so bad, it's torpedoes any take of, hey, they have a really good secondary, or they have a really good receiver core, they have a really good D-line room. Like, everything's been bad. It's been so disastrous that it's hard to like point out where people were so explicitly wrong on that.
Nostalgic tape?
We got
Another one?
one.
Let's do it.
Let's double down on nostalgia. All right, let's see here. Oh, wow. So this is a linebacker?
It is.
He's listed as running back, defensive end, linebacker.
In high school.
Correct.
This is going to be tough. Did he play?
Sparingly.
He did end up transferring.
It's not Walter Grant, is it?
It is not.
He did end up transferring?
Yeah.
He did.
It's not Darius Smith.
Oh my God.
No.
Holy shit.
Is he still on active rosters?
I don't think he is anymore.
So
Let me
he's
double check
graduated?
that, though.
Oh, man.
Good drop.
I'm in deep trouble here, boys. This is an out-of-state recruit, correct?
Yes.
Oh, man.
He was recruited by Georgia and he committed to Georgia, so it's not a transfer.
Wait a minute.
He
Hold on.
transferred out of Georgia.
Transferred out of Georgia.
Correct.
Yes.
But it's not like a Don Lovett situation.
And he was a linebacker at Georgia?
Yeah.
Correct.
I'm
For context, his last college football season was 2023.
at the last college football season, period.
Yeah. He was in college for a little while too.
He did have an injury while he was at Georgia.
It's not Otis Reese, is it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I got nothing. You stumped me.
He transferred to UCF.
Oh, wow. That's Tresman?
No.
Nope.
Tresman
Tresman
transferred
went to
there
Bama.
too. But then transferred to UCF.
Yeah.
Correct.
This player went from Georgia to UCF.
Ryan Davis?
Yep.
There it is.
He's way thinner in this high school tape than he ever was at Georgia.
Yeah, he was a big.
He was
linebacker.
thick at
Yeah,
Georgia.
he's a meathead.
Congratulations. You guys got me.
There we go.
Yep. There's no way I would have guessed that's Ryan Davis.
That's good. It was honestly good tape, too.
It was really good tape. It's
very
not bad
good
tape
tape.
at all.
A lot of people were saying Brent Cox in the chat.
Too thin.
Yeah.
And not good enough tape. Brenton Cox was a 5-star. He'd pop right off.
Yeah.
He'd pop right off. I remember Ryan Davis for a play he had against Vanderbilt the year Kamari Lassiter had a pick.
2021.
Yeah, he's scraping, and a tackle tries to cut him, and he jumps over. As soon as his feet hit the ground, he turns sideways, runs a running back down. And I'm like, that's their 6th stringer. You know? It's like, holy shit, I'm sitting here watching this. I'm like, what? You know, I thought he had a chance to play. Did it ever work out at UCF for him?
No, I don't think so.
I think he had a lot of injury issues. Didn't he like tear his quad while he was at Georgia or something like that?
I couldn't tell you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he tore his quad.
Yeah, his final season at UCF was in 2023. He finished with 14 total tackles.
Man, that sucks. Hell of an athlete, though.
One of those what could have been kind of things,
Yeah.
minus an injury.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him on the sidelines in 2021 when he was injured or not 2021, whenever he was injured, and just thinking like, damn, when he gets healthy, he's gonna be a problem for.
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, never put MJ Sherman up there. I was so high on MJ Sherman coming out of high school, I thought there was no way it wasn't going to work. And
He was
didn't.
terrifying on kickoff team.
Dude, the tape was insane. Insane. Just never worked out. Not at Georgia. It's kind of working out at Nebraska.
Yeah, kind of.
It's getting PT.
Yeah. That's all that matters.
All right, boys. There aren't a lot of really, really high-end head coaching candidates that are available right now.
There's not a lot of high-end coaching positions that are going to be open. Like, we came into the season thinking, like, hey, South Carolina's going to be open, Florida's going to be open, Ole Miss might be open by proxy, and it's just looking like none of those might be open at this point. So the coaching search and the coaching market is kind of very dried up.
What are you getting at?
I'm getting at the idea that there's only going to be like a couple of big jobs available, and there's not going to be a bunch of head coaches that people are just absolutely excited to go hire. But there's a defensive coordinator at Georgia right now that has been on these lists of candidacies for a long time. And I don't know. I don't know if Glenn Schuman wants to be a head football coach. But I can tell you right now, come December, he's going to be interviewing for him. Or his agent's going to be getting phone calls asking him to go interview for these jobs. And I think if he doesn't get in the ring this cycle, I don't know if he ever does. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. The question that I would have is, even if Schuman doesn't want to, like, is there ever a point in time where if you're his agent, you have to say, I don't care if you want the job or not, you got to go take the interview. Like, just so people know, like, all right, he's taking interviews. Like, that way it never stops for you. Like, because I think eventually, like, if you just keep rejecting interviews, like, you might take a phone call, but you don't ever go for the in-person. You just kind of shut it down quickly. I feel like they would get to a point in time where people are like, well, he's just not going to leave. Like, he's no longer an option for us. We're just going to start moving off and start looking for the next one. It's like, do you just tell him, like, take the interviews? That way, like, the options never stop, just in case, like, something were to happen or, like, you ever did change your mind.
There's a lot of indications this year that would say, okay, the stars are kind of aligning for – what did you just read? What?
If Schuman is gone after this year, call David Pollock.
You were saying.
Shout out David Pollock, UGA legend.
Shout out David Pollock. Right after that, why don't they just call Richard Seymour?
You know what? Get Hines Ward as a wide receivers coach.
I mean, come on. No. OC. OC.
We're bringing the band back together.
Yeah, got to.
But no, it does feel like the stars are kind of aligning, and, you know, Schuman, big Bama guy. If that comes open, is that the one? Or are NFL teams going to come knocking because there isn't really a college football candidate right now that's kind of glaring like, oh, this is the hottest name in the coaching market this year. This guy will not be coaching at the team he's at this season currently. Here's the thing that I keep getting hung up on. Glenn Schuman seems like someone who doesn't really want to move out of Athens. He's talked about how much he loves Athens.
Just had his third kid.
That's what I'm getting at. He talked about how happy he is there. That kid's going to be 3 months old by the time this coaching search really starts getting ramping up. Is he going to even be willing to pick up? And I understand money talks, but it hasn't talked yet.
That's what I'm ultimately getting at. Is not trying to create fear. It's just ultimately to say that if it doesn't happen this round, if he doesn't take these interview jobs, I think you're right, Jonathan. I think they just stop calling.
Yeah.
They're like, we've tried 3 rounds now. We've tried at least 2 years, right? It was two off seasons ago that Philadelphia tried to hire him as the DC, and he said no. And this offseason, it was extremely quiet around Schuman. And if it's quiet again this offseason, I think you can maybe you never can put it to bed, but I think you can put it to bed for a little while.
Yeah, and hypothetically, say for whatever reason, things don't work out at Alabama with Kalen DeBoer, or Kalen DeBoer has a great season, says, all right, I think I'm going to go try my luck in the NFL right now. Is that the job he takes, you think?
It is his alma mater.
It would be the gap year already happened.
But, Alabama will probably just call Sean Alexander.
Yeah. But
Derrick Henry only has like a couple years left, probably.
Yeah, maybe they can get him retire.
Yeah.
The guy probably thinks I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, buddy. I don't mean to be cooking you like that.
He just happened to roll into the classic.
Yeah.
Former player.
Yeah.
It's all right. No hatred for David
He's
Pollock.
coaching
Love
high
David
school, though,
Pollock.
isn't he?
Pollock?
Yeah.
Helps out with North Oconee.
Yeah, he's an analyst for Oconee.
Gotcha.
Which I'm sure entails standing on the sideline during the game and being like, hey, coach, this might work. That kind of thing.
Now, going back to that, I mean, it very much seems like Glenn Schuman is the Kirby Smart to what Kirby Smart was for Nick Saban, in that he's a guy that stays 10 toes down for you, defensive mastermind, is always kind of a hot name when the coaching searches come up, but it seems like he might just be waiting for that right one, and bam, his alma mater comes open, and the rest is history. I could see that trajectory going for him.
One thing I do know about doing this job is that we're going to be covering some type of coaching change this offseason. Somebody's going somewhere. Somebody's getting
in the
replaced.
national or
Something's
in local?
happening. Huh?
You
No,
talking about
in the
local?
Georgia space.
Yeah.
We haven't. When was the last time we went a full year without something changing
Never.
staff-wise?
Never.
So something's happening.
Yeah.
I just don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
We know it's not Trey Scott.
I can tell you it's probably not Kirby Smart.
Yeah, fair.
I don't think it'll be Mike Bobo.
Don't think it's Mike Bobo.
And I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably not Glenn Schuman right now.
Okay.
Could be, but
All right.
Uzo been here a minute.
Uzo has been here a minute.
yeah,
And I can tell you right now, it went under the radar, but Uzo turned down jobs last year.
checks out.
Yeah.
Uzo turned down jobs last year.
Makes sense.
Pretty sure he got a raise this year as well. So you don't even have to hear it from me. If you see that happening, you just kind of should already know he said no.
I love Coach Uzo.
You do?
Yeah.
What makes you love Coach Uzo?
Because his name's so fun to say.
Yeah, I think he's done a good job of help building up the room.
Yeah, no doubt. I love Coach Uzo on the sideline during photos. I have a photo of Dalen Everett's interception, and it's like well into the celebration of the interception is the photo that I have. And Uzo's in the back going.
He just seems
a good 15 seconds after it
He
happened.
seems like a good, to me, and I've never
Good
met,
hype man.
I've never met the guy, but he just seems like a good player's coach.
I'll tell you this much. Most player coaches known for kind of being cool, laid back. Not this guy.
Yeah.
Per capita in terms of cuss words per total words said, it's number 1 James Coley, number 2 Uzo Duribe, number 3 Kirby Smart. Dead
Where's
ass.
Mike Bobo on that list?
Quiet during practice when we're out there.
Really?
Yep. Very quiet during practice when we're out there.
Because all the stories you hear from former players and guys.
Kind of an
coaching-
ass?
Not even that. Just like very vocal, very, very much.
No. I've heard kind of an ass.
Yeah. I mean,
Straight from Aaron Murray's mouth on this network. But the coach that you know's an ass. So you're just ready for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another hypothetical. Say that Schuman leaves within the next 2 years. Is that just a plug and play for Will Muschamp at that point, or do they find someone else?
Is Muschamp, is he going to get back into DCing?
I feel like it'd be a hard thing to do now that
Yeah.
you step back.
I feel like the hours he's worked, and it's like, hey, Will, we need you back here working 100-hour weeks again. He's like, oh, shit.
I mean, he's living life.
He really is.
You get to go to your son's college on Saturdays. You help out Georgia during the week. You get to have some fun there. I mean, you've already done all your time in college football, a long time in college football, and now you get to do best of both worlds. Very rare in this industry do you get to do that.
Have I told my Will Muschamp story on here?
You've told a Will one. I don't know if it's the one.
The one about him trying to be incognito?
Yeah, with the hat.
Yeah.
And
That was funny.
wasn't he wearing like a different team?
He's wearing a Harvard shirt.
Yeah.
A Harvard shirt and a Harvard hat. Or Harvard hoodie with a Harvard hat and Unabomber sunglasses.
Did you talk to him? You're like,
Yeah.
hey, I know it's you.
Yeah.
What'd he
I
say?
walked over to him and was like, I know you're trying to be slick, but appreciate your work. You do great stuff. And that was it. I don't try to bother
Did he
guys
say,
when they're obviously
he
trying
said,
to
get
be
away
quiet.
from me?
Huh?
He said, get away from me.
No, he didn't say get away from me. But no, I let him know he he wouldn't be in that incognito. But he is still relatively young. I mean, he's only like a couple years older than Kirby.
he's only
As long as he's been in college football.
early 50s.
Yeah. And he's been in DC or on a defensive staff since the early thousands.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, he's been doing it for 24 years at the highest level.
But I mean, the whole reason he stepped away from college coaching was to watch his son.
Mm-hmm.
His son's a true freshman at Vanderbilt right now.
Yeah.
And look, man, we've seen guys like Matt Luke's a prime example. Matt Luke retired from coaching, spent 18 months scratching his neck like a fiend, and then was like, you know what?
I'm back.
Let's do it. Clemson, I'll revitalize your offensive line. And they're singing his praises right now up on Little Death Valley.
Yeah, I mean, that break probably does a lot of good
Handled
for
App
you.
State. Let's go.
Chill out, bro.
That 18-month break.
Matt Luke, friend of the show. Go ahead.
I'm saying that 18-month break probably does do a lot of good for you, where it's like, I can relax now just long enough to be like, I got to do something. I can't stand this.
Or it makes you realize how much you don't want to be at home.
Well, maybe not don't want to be at home. Just don't enjoy not having 40-hour work weeks
40 hours?
at minimum.
I don't know of a single college football coach that I know of that's out here working 40 hours.
At minimum. It's probably closer to 90.
Maybe Hugh Freeze right about now. But other than that.
No, he said he's staying his ways.
Yeah, how about
I'm not
that
involving
quote?
with college
How about
football.
that quote?
Stick with my ways.
Hugh Freeze out here telling folks, whilst being 2-5, that he's standing 10 toes.
Yeah, why would I change? I got to get back to how it was.
I've been a head coach for 13 years. Why would I change now? I've been doing nothing but winning national.
Wait, you mean he's not changing and is 13?
Verbatim said, I'm not changing a thing. I'm standing on business. Interesting work from Hugh.
It's crazy.
Any other thoughts?
I mean, it's tough. I don't think that losing Schuman is going to be anything you have to worry about for the next few seasons. But what do I know? I don't know him personally. I don't talk to him about it, but that's just where my head's at right now. I know that he's probably the name where it's like anytime the coaching searches come up for head coaching job, it's like, oh, they circle around him, but that doesn't worry me anymore. For like a guy like when Monken, the name started circling around Monken, it was like, okay, he's probably out of here. But I think that's the luxury that you have of being a Georgia team.
Monken didn't want to be there in the first place.
Right. Right.
I've never seen a more miserable dude winning natties. Never. I got him to smile in one photo. One.
Mm-hmm.
In 2
The
years.
last.
The last photo he ever took. It should have been the known thing. As soon as he smiled into the lens, it's like, oh, buddy, you're gone.
I'll finally give you one.
You're gone.
But you won't ever see me again.
But yeah, but I was saying that's the luxury that you kind of have at Georgia right now, where your head coach isn't going anywhere. He's going to retire at that school. Hot take. I don't think Mike Bobo has a desire to get back into head coaching. It doesn't seem like Glenn Schuman really wants to. Like the core three that you have right now seems very, very content with where they are, and they're damn good at their jobs. So you're in a really good position.
Is there a world where a hot offensive coordinator becomes available, and no different than T-Rob became available last year, and Muschamp elected to go to the analyst role? Is there a world where an offensive coordinator becomes available? And I know I'm getting Georgia fans that are anti-Bobo bricked up right now. Is there a world where that similar situation happens in the offensive coordinator room?
I mean, I would never deny that being a possibility, but I'd also say go find me that name right now.
Right. Go find me the guy who's kind of innovating college football with play callings. That's
not going to take an OC or a head coaching job.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, maybe. I mean, there's also a world where maybe Bobo retires if they win a Natty here soon.
Yeah.
Like you win the Natty now he was on an analyst staff in 2022, but you win a Natty as a prominent coach for your school, your alma mater. Like you've had a great run as a coach. Why not maybe say, all right, you know what? I'm satisfied now. I could see that happening with Bobo, but it's a spoiled way to think, but I'm always of the impression that you can kind of plug and play with Kirby Smart at this point. He doesn't really miss on the hiring process. He hasn't missed in 5 years. So
when was the last miss? You going Coley as OC?
I wasn't going to say that, but I mean, that was a one and done type thing.
And I don't even think that was a miss. I think that was leaning on loyalty a bit too much. It was an in-house promotion. You know, Chaney left to go to Tennessee with Pruitt, and it was like, hey, we got the guy in place. Let's just upgrade him. And by the way, I believe at the time Coley was the quarterback's coach for Jake Fromm.
Yes.
So there was a continuity level of that as well. So it made some
Yeah.
alignment sense.
It did.
Yeah, you don't want to leave your junior quarterback that.
Sophomore at the time, but you're right.
No, he was a junior for this. This was
Okay.
the 2019 season.
Okay.
This would have been Jake Fromm's last year.
Mentally, for some reason, I thought Chaney left after the first loss in the national title.
Chaney was there in 2018.
First 2 years, okay.
Correct.
All right.
First 3.
3.
So yeah,
I was still getting my brains beat in.
I was still in high school. I was getting my brains beaten in high school too. Don't worry.
Shout out to Sequoia.
Go Chiefs.
We're driving to Texas last week, and I look over in the corner in the driver's seat, or the passenger seat. He ain't said nothing in 30 minutes. And I look over, and he's watching Sequoia High School football. And then, at the end of the Sequoia High School football game, he dials the high school quarterback's number to give him shit.
He's a family friend.
He's a family friend to give him shit for allowing, who were they playing?
River Ridge.
River Ridge to crawl back into that football game.
Classic.
Just a bully.
Meanie.
Oh,
Big old meanie.
Come on, guys. I'm nice. There's no need to call the B word, man. Come on.
What a great week of show on this channel. We appreciate you for being here, man. We love you guys. We're up a tremendous amount of subscribers on this network, and we're thankful for it. But we only know this is just the beginning here on this network, all right? So we appreciate you for being here. We love you. We'll see